Yo, welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passion, and hustles. And I'm so excited to be here for episode number 2. And if you are also listening to this on Spotify or wherever you're listening, we do have the YouTube channel as well. You can jump on over there for future reference. We will be doing some of these episodes with video, so you can see myself, this face, or you can also see some of the different visuals that I'll be chucking up, whether it's some quotes or just different stuff. So just to be mindful of that. Otherwise, I'm more than happy for you to just listen because at the end of the day, this is a podcast. So what are we talking about today? Episode number 2. I want to talk about don't just dream it, do it. And this actually comes from a bit of a blog post that I posted way back in 2018, back when Furry originally started. Now, if you are new here and you haven't really followed the journey of how Further Your Lifestyle kind of started, well, it all comes from my original brand and I guess business of Furry, which was all about Further Your Lifestyle. And that predominantly was a clothing brand line with the idea to, promote passion and being passionate about passion and people's passion, which, is always alluded around lifestyle and passions and hustle. But that's where I guess now we've finally formulated and, landed into where I've always wanted to be, which is a podcast to have conversations with people about lifestyle, passion, and hustles. Anyway, we lose track. So jumping back to what I want to talk about today is imagine for a moment, we have all these ideas that seem to come and go, throughout the day, or, whether you're sitting in your office building or you're working or you're at school or at university, and you're drifting in and out of all these different ideas, and you're soon reminded of the reality of your day or whatever you're doing. It's the usual cliche, right? It's the 9-to-5 gig or some dead-end job, which pays the bills and gets you by, but it's not fulfilling that want, that need. All it's doing is fulfilling the basic necessities. What if all this could change? What if capturing these dreams, these ideas, and all these, moments of daydreams, if you could capture them and transform them into something tangible, something which is an outcome that was of possibility? Of course, it is possible, and that's what this podcast is all about, is trying to help you find and see how you can make it possible. And I think the first thing around that is sometimes, we probably know it's possible because we see people do things and we're like, oh, I wish I could do that. But sometimes we need it to be a little clearer. We need it to be somewhat simpler in order for us to actually take that next step and, jump out into what we want to achieve. If this is something that you're interested in, let's get into it. There's a famous quote from Jack Johnson that says, don't let your dreams be dreams, right? And that's what we're talking about. It's exactly what we're talking about. We don't want our dreams just to be dreams. And it's great to have dreams because without dreams, you don't have that, something to aspire towards, something to be inspired by. But naturally and by instinct, we are drawn to something more. We always want to be doing something on the weekend, or the grass is always greener on the other side. We're always drawn to something which is of a bit more excitement, or something which comes across as, the grass being greener on the other side. And sometimes it's the latest technology or the latest thing or an experience or a thrill or something that gives you that, thrill of a joy or that boost of adrenaline. We all yearn for more. Yet, unfortunately, we live, bounded by this idea that you need to accomplish X in order to get Y. And we can't just go straight to Y. Now, why can't we simply just straight to our end game? Let me say that again. Why can't we just simply jump straight to our end game? Well, that doesn't make sense. But just stop for a second and just take a breather and actually really digest this. We need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, right? And I know that's a bit of a cliche, but the first thing we need to be doing is, do you even have an end game in mind? Because if you don't, this is going to be a little tricky and even hard to track to, because sometimes we get so not saying that you shouldn't be starting, but we get so idealistic and have this big, amazing idea that we get overwhelmed as soon as you need to start taking action and you need to do all these different things. So I think you don't need to have it all locked down nor planned out to the dot, but you do need to have that idea, that daydream which constantly drifts in and out. You need to have that end game of where you want to be. You need something to draw closer to, right? It's like following the dots if you're doing a dot to dot. So don't be shy. We all have hidden dreams, right? We all have passions and hobbies we wish we could be doing or attending to. And some great examples of this could be, you could be a checkout teller by day and compete hacking competitions by night, right? These are just some different unique situations that people could be doing or maybe are doing, right? You could be an urban treasure hunter searching for, searching the beaches for coins and lost belongings, like metal detecting. You could have a thing for unicycles. Yeah, you could be a drummer that plays for your grandpa's RSL club or down at the local pub. You could be a drone pilot capturing the bird's eye view of sports. You could be a fashion vlogger sharing your journey to create a new kind of pink in sweaters. And what I mean a new kind of pink is maybe it's ruby rose, maybe it's coral, maybe finding that new color that needs to be in sweaters or is the new trend in sweaters. You could be just another guy or another car guy in this case who customizes rims with fluorescent coating. You could be a thrift store flipper making a living. I do a bit of reselling myself. And you could be thriving off the land and sharing your veggie garden journey. So these are all wonderful and amazing and unique and weird and different things that people do. People do this, right? They're not actual made up things. People have these hobbies, have these passions and live these lifestyles, and you probably have something like this as well. Maybe you're not doing it full time, maybe you're doing it part time, and maybe you're just doing it when it's neglected here and there as an hour on the weekend or whatnot. But these are merely just tips of an ever so growing iceberg, right? Each one of these have endless possibilities, and we've just mentioned 9 or 10 there. So the question you need to be asking yourself is, what is your weird and wonderful idea which has you drifting and daydreaming? What is it? And if you do, I dare you to write it down, to think about it, and to press pause. And if you have to, yeah. And if you're listening to this or watching this on the YouTube, leave a comment if you dare. Leave your comment below and let us know. But have a think about that. It's a deep question, right? Let me say it again. What is your weird and wonderful idea which has you drifting and daydreaming? So once you've answered that above question, you'll have your foot in the door. You're ready to take it to the next level, right? You're ready for what's next. Well, maybe the next part might actually be the hardest thing you ever do. And that's starting, right? And I can speak from experience here. Here I am doing the second episode of a podcast which I've been holding off from doing for so long. Been trying to make sure it was perfect. I've been making excuses, and in order to start, I wanted to have all these things lined up. Well, the thing I needed to do was just start. But starting means you can and you will fail, and no one likes it. I don't like it. It's like a swift kick to the gut, painful and always remembered. But these are the blows and these are the bruises we need to feel in order to rise. It's like anything in life. It's never going to be perfect, and it's never going to be smooth sailing, because if it was, it would probably be pretty boring. So you're probably thinking, Chris, that's great. You've said, let's start. And how do I do that? Well, we need to work backwards, right? We need to take that dream that you've been dreaming of, take that idea that you've been thinking about, the places that you go in your mind to escape or to dream of someday having. How does one even get there? And don't say luck, because that's not the case. People get there through hard work, hustle, grit, and a whole lot of pain. But most of all, through passion. Okay? So, do you know why people don't make any money in the share market? Right? Because people freak out. they give up. They run away from when things get tough. They see the spike or the dip in terms of losses going. It's dipping down. It's all, plummeting, and they jump out. You need to be in it for the long haul. You need to be ready to give it a go, not just for, a day, a 2-day, 2 weeks, 2 months, but I'm talking long term. You need to be willing to go month by month, year by year. You need to be willing to take the steps, take the smaller steps to get yourself taking the bigger steps. So you have your answer. And sorry, if you were expecting a 1-2, skip a few, 99, 100, well, sorry, it doesn't exist. There's no overnight success like this. Yes, you can post something and go viral overnight, but that doesn't mean you're a success. That doesn't mean you've got it all together. That doesn't mean you have something which is going to enable you to, be self-sufficient or that will flourish. All right. What you need to think about is, how are you going to discover this? How are you going to embark on the journey? And what are you going to do about it, right? What are you going to do to bring your dream a little closer into reach, a little closer to something that you can call reality? And that's 100% what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Let's just take a step back. There was a lot there to just take into account, right? So let's just summarize. Number 1, you need to know your end game. Capture your daydream, take it aside, and bring it close to your heart. Define it, write it down, and breathe it, live it. Number 2, know your weird and wonderful. Whether it is an idea or a skill set you have, this is what will make your end game become a reality, right? If you know what your weird and wonderful is. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, and you might not think you're super good at it, but you know that you've got something weird and wonderful that you love to do. And the reason why I say weird is because we're all weird. To other people, it might be weird, but to other people, it's also wonderful. Point number 3 is start. Seriously, you just need to do it. That is, what is the one thing that you can do today to progress further than yesterday? Whether it's researching about how to start a podcast, whether it's picking up the phone and giving someone a call and trying to get a next sale. What is it that you can do today? Number 4 is hustle. And I know that's sometimes hustle can come across as it just has sometimes too much hard work around that. But really, you need to have the willingness and the motivation to embrace the challenge with grit and thrive. You need to be able to thrive through it with passion, right? So, but I think one which I didn't mention, which is super important, is 5. And this is optional, but I think you'll have to do it regardless, is ask for help. And, that's where I would love to be able to have a chat with any one of you that is listening to this is, if you've got something, an idea, let's have a chat about it. Let's have a chat about your weird and wonderful. Reach out to me. I'm more than happy to have a chat about it. I'm just like you. I'm another speck in the sand of this big wide world, and I have a big dream to make a dent and hopefully a big enough sandcastle to draw attention to the finer and cooler things in life, right? So at the moment, that's what I'm doing. I'm building out this podcast for myself to grow and learn and experience and to have so much fun along the way. But most of all, I want to help others further their lifestyle. Right? And that's what it's all about. I want to be your biggest fan. I want to help you thrive and fuel your passion. And yeah, all you got to do is reach out. Let's have a chat. I'm not saying I've got all the answers, but what I can do is give you some perspective, give you some encouragement, and support you as much as possible. And that, my friends, is episode number 2 of the Further Your Lifestyle podcast. A lot to digest there, a lot of things to consider, a lot of meat to take in, and I want you to really take that away, to just imagine for a moment the possibilities, the ideas, but the most of all is to take away this question, leave a comment below, or write it down and think about it yourself, is what is your weird and wonderful idea which has you drifting and daydreaming? All right. Really do appreciate you being here. My name's Chris Furlong. I'm the host of Further Your Lifestyle podcast, and it has been an absolute honor to be able to talk to you guys and hopefully leave something there for you to think about. Until next time, cheers.